Hi guys, welcome back to yet another fun DIY sailboat refit video here aboard good old Athena. There's a very strong chance that this weekend is my last chance to glass stuff to the hull before it gets too cold. Whatever I don't get tabbed to the hull this weekend will have to wait 5 months. Hopefully I'll get enough done that I can continue working on the nav station and the galley and also the head over the winter. But I've got a ton of work ahead of me, so let's jump right in. I've cut the plywood for the nav station and also the 2 pieces for the galley. There's going to be more plywood that's going to butt up against this, but that is going to be inside of the boat, so that I can take care of even if it's cold outside. There's a good reason this new piece of plywood for the nav station is secured to the old piece of plywood, but we'll get back to that a little later in the video. I've also trimmed the mini bulkhead that's going to separate the shower from the head. There's going to be another piece of foam that's going to go here where the old door was, and I'd like to get that up this weekend too. It is getting pretty late in the day, so I'll just cut a slightly oversized piece of foam and then we can trim it later this weekend. These 2 pieces are going to get joined together and form the separation between the head and the saloon. To be able to get these up on Sunday, I need to get the first layer of glass on here tomorrow. It's only 8 o'clock, so I've got a few hours until bedtime. Let's head up to the new workshop and cut all of the glass I'll need this weekend. That'll be really nice to get checked off the list. The new workshop is on the other side of town. It's about the same distance from the marina, so it'll take us about 10-15 minutes to get there. Welcome to the new, bigger, but not quite as nice looking workshop. I picked up a couple of cheap tarps because to cut the fiberglass the way I want to, I'm gonna have to roll it out on the floor, which is pretty dirty. Ugh. Here is a fresh roll of 600 gram BX. And of course this thing is the wrong way around, so this stuff has all of the fibers along the plus 45 and the minus 45 axis. All of the tape you can buy over here has the fibers along the 0 axis and the 90 axis. That tape is no good for tabbing to the hull. I've scoured all of Denmark and nowhere am I able to get this in tape form. So I'm stuck cutting it myself, which is super tedious. That was quite the right hand workout. I think I might have gotten a blister. There is quite a bit of glass here, and I'm actually going to be laying up most of this stuff this weekend. So yeah, that is going to be a lot of work. None of which can happen without copious amounts of freaking glorious sanding and prep work. But I think we'll save the sanding for tomorrow. Today it would be really cool if I could get the cabin sole tabbed to the hull. Because the plywood here is going to be sitting on top of that tabbing, life is just going to be a lot easier if I can get that tabbing down today. I've got a fresh C-pack of 105 resin in my little epoxy toaster there heating up, and all of the sanding is already taken care of. Everything is wiped down and I've got my little area here set up. I've got the 3 different widths of fiberglass I cut yesterday. There is a small one, a medium one, and a big one. I'm going to be laying up 6 layers of 600 gram BX. that is most definitely going to be overkill. That'll give the new tabbing the same thickness as the old tabbing, but when talking about strength in laminate, what's important is the orientation of the fibers and the actual glass content in the laminate, provided it's wetted out thoroughly. What I'm laying up here is going to be a lot stronger than the old laminate, but when doing a refit like the one I'm doing here about Athena, where you don't have calculations for everything and nothing is simulated, it's a safe bet to go with a little bit of overkill. Good morning, guys! Last night I finished tabbing the cabin sole to the hull, and I also got the first layer of glass laid up on the foam that's going to separate the head from the saloon. It looks like this has cured enough that I can go ahead and move it out of the way. You might be wondering why I don't have peel ply on here. Well, that is because Captain Dum Dum has misplaced his roll of peel ply. I know I have it here somewhere, I just can't find it. Hopefully tonight I can get glass laid up on the back of this, and that should stiffen it up quite a bit. The first 5 or 6 minutes of this video you've watched represents about 15 hours worth of work here aboard Athena, and I've still got a ton of work ahead of me, so I'd best get my butt in gear. I've prioritized today's work so that I take care of the areas that are the most important to me first. So first I'm gonna get the nav station and these 2 pieces of plywood in. That means that I can continue working on the nav station over the winter. Then I'm gonna move into the head, and last I'm gonna deal with the knee and the last bit of the galley. I had a little screw up last weekend where I ran out of stainless steel screws, so let's fix that first. This does look a little bit messy right now. There's a bunch of temporary support here, but there's a good reason for that support. Of course, you should always bear in mind that I have absolutely no building or woodworking skills. So mean, so mean. Excuse me while I go cry myself to sleep. I am sure Captain Doofus there is going to disagree with my method here. My reason for all of this temporary support is because I need there to be exactly 64 centimeters between these 2 pieces, and I need them to be parallel. Right here is where I'm going to put our 100% custom designed gimbaled box housing an induction hub and also a combination microwave and convection oven. And because all of that needs to be gimbaled, it would be awesome if these 2 were parallel. What I'm most certainly not an expert at is using Fusion 360, but I am almost done designing the very simple gimbaled sheet metal box that's going to house everything. Hopefully I can show you that tomorrow. It looks like I need to do just a little bit more grinding in there, but other than that, a quick wipe down and I'm ready to get this tabbed to the hull. Tabbing stuff to the hull is insanely time consuming. I've taken care of the seat and these two pieces, but it's already 2 o'clock, so we better hurry up and move on to the head. I've put up some temporary supports here, so all the stuff to do now is just to do yet more glorious sanding and yet more frickin' laying up glass. I realize the space for the shower here looks pretty confined on camera, but in real life it's actually not all that bad. If you're kind of sideways, then there's tons of room here. It got pretty late last night, but I managed to lay up glass on the knee, so that's all done, and all the stuff I laid up yesterday seems to have cured nicely, so I can go ahead and remove the last bits of old plywood. This and this is all that's left of the old interior here in the saloon. Once I've removed those, it's all brand new. I'll save my little spaces here for when I need to attach the piece of plywood that's going to go on the outside of this. I haven't trimmed these pieces here to size yet. There's going to be a chunk removed out of them, something like that. I haven't done that yet because I want to give myself a little bit of flexibility for when I've built that gimbaled box. I want to make sure that that can swing freely. But yeah, as you can see, I still have a lot of glass to lay up. Ta-da! That is all of the supporting pieces for the nav station and the galley done. I still need to tab the inside of the shower, but unfortunately I am out of video shooting time for this week. I'm fully aware that this video has just been a bunch of laying up glass, and that kind of gives me flashbacks to the summer, but the good news is that with all of this plywood in place, there's plenty of stuff I can continue working on here inside of Athena over the winter. I promised you a glimpse of the very simple sheet metal gimbaled box, and this is it in its unfolded state. This is only the back, the front, and the bottom of the box, but it should still give you a pretty good idea of how simple this thing really is. So if we just swivel it around, that is all that it really is. There's a hole here in the front for the oven, and that's a standard size over here, so in case the oven ever breaks, then we just slide in a new one. And of course there's going to be sides on here, and then there's going to be a frame along the top which is going to support the induction hub and also stiffen up the box. There is an alternative to building a box yourself. A couple of you guys sent me links for a company called Dien Espar or something. They do high-end stuff for galleys, and yes, high-end stuff is expensive. They're asking just shy of $3,500 US for the box. No appliances, just the box. I'm not that used to working with metal, but the Honorable Mr. Cement Boat guy is, and I think he's going to take me under his wing and teach me a little bit about bending metal, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. In the end, I think my box there is going to cost around $250. I checked the weather forecast, and next week the temperatures are going to drop way below freezing, so no more tabbing stuff to the hull. Now, in response to last weekend's video where I mentioned that temperature is a challenge when tabbing something to the hull, I got a lot of comments suggesting that I should use an electric blanket or my silicone heating mat to heat the outside of the hull. That's not really that practical of an option for me here because I have no way of preventing theft, and the mat would have to stay on there for days, and also there's nothing preventing anybody from just unplugging the thing, which would be not great. As always, a big thank you to those of you who leave helpful suggestions in the comment section to help me out here aboard Athena. In this case, I think it's just easier for me to get all of the tabbing done this weekend and not have to worry about heating or insulating the outside of the hull during the winter. I know this video is a little bit shorter than normal, and also there's been an awful lot of time lapses in this video, but with all of the time I've put into tabbing everything to the hull this week, there's not been a lot of time for shooting video. I think the important thing here is that I'm perfectly set up for continuing to work on Athena over the winter. I haven't fully made up my mind when it comes to what I'm going to start working on next week. I could start with the nav station, which would be a lot of fun, or I could start with the sink area in the head, which would also be a lot of fun. Either way, I hope to see all of you guys back here aboard Athena next Sunday. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. See you!